Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we've got a new supporter card to show you, and it's one that really has a big chance of being really, really good. Now, our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet, and yeah, I say that a lot, but to be fair, Antoine helps us out with translations a lot, so if I didn't say it a lot, I would not be giving credit where it was due, and I would feel, frankly, well, a little bit rude. The one we've got here is a card called Adventurer's Discovery, and it's not actually coming in EV Heroes, it is actually coming in those Inteleon and Gengar decks, which we also had some card reveals for this weekend. So although it is being revealed at the same time as the new cards from EV Heroes, it is actually not coming in EV Heroes. You have been warned. But what does it actually do? Well, according to the lovely Antoine Boulet, you search your deck for up to 3 Pokémon V, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Love it. Absolutely love it. And basically, there are 3 reasons why I love this card. Reason number 1, Pokemon V also includes VMAXs. So if I'm playing an Eternatus deck, I can grab an Eternatus for this turn and an Eternatus VMAX for next turn, and then I've got one more to grab. Maybe it's a Crobat for draw power, more on that in a moment. Maybe it's a second Eternatus V, so I'm not that vulnerable if one gets KO'd, so I've got one to accelerate to with power, accelerator, etc. That's good. Reason I love it number 2, they go to your hand. And going to your hand is amazing. We've seen cards like this before that put them onto your bench. It ain't perfect. Bridget was a great example where it went to your bench. And the thing is, if the Pokemon go straight to your bench, you don't get coming into play abilities. And yes, obviously here I'm thinking about Crobat. When you play Crobat from your hand to your bench, you draw into, you got 6 cards in your hand. It is clearly brilliant. But the fact of the matter is, anytime I am playing a supporter that doesn't draw me cards, I am giving up my draw power for the turn. Most turns, I want to either be playing something like Marnie or Professor's Research in order to draw cards, or I want to be playing something like Boss's Orders to go and take a key KO. But even Boss's Orders, we always have to think, do I need to draw cards this turn? And certainly, if I've got to set up a supporter going on, I need to be drawing cards as well, because sure, I can get my Pokemon, but can I get my energy? Can I get a supporter for next turn? Can I actually really get rolling? And the answer is yes, because Crobat has a coming into play ability. So to go back to my previous example, I grab an Eternatus for this turn, an Eternatus VMAX to guarantee I've got the VMAX for next turn. I don't know how many games you all have played with Eternatus, but I've played a lot of games of Eternatus. It's probably my favourite of the quote-unquote meta decks. And honestly, right, if you don't get turn 2 VMAX, you often lose. It is a huge, huge deal getting that early VMAX. And then you got the Crobat to draw cards, and life is good. And that brings me to reason I love this supporter card number 3. We've got Pokemon Vs that draw cards. Now, Crobat here is the obvious one, but I could instead grab an Eldegoss V, and then, okay, fine, it's not going to really help me that much this turn, but next turn I can play it, grab a supporter like Professor's Research, and off I go. Or I can go and grab a Kricketune that lets me draw until I've got 3 cards in hand, 4 if I'm in the active. Or Galarian Articuno, which lets me discard 2 cards from my hand and then draw a card. Yes, I know that's a net loss of 1 card, but if you're searching Galarian Articuno, I assume you've got Crobat in hand, you've got Kricketune on the field, etc. Galarian Articuno is actually a phenomenal card for essentially emptying out your hand in advance of something like a Crobat or a Kricketune. So yeah, that's pretty gosh darn good. And that's why I love this. Because firstly, it is a great setup supporter. I'm searching out my Pokemon, and that is awesome. But it is a great setup supporter which does not ask me to give up drawing cards for the turn. It merely asks me that instead I go and use a Pokemon V to go and do some draw. And I'm alright with that. We all do that. We all play Crobat. We're all probably going to play Kricketune, etc. By the way, by the time this comes out, you can expect the rotation to have either happened or to be just about to happen. So I really would not worry a pretty little head about it at all. It's going to be absolutely fine. The rotation is going to kick in, so Pokemon GXs aren't going to be an issue. And obviously, right, there's going to be plenty of decks that have absolutely no interest in this card whatsoever. If you're not playing a deck which is focused around Pokemon Vs and VMAXs, it doesn't matter. However, if you are playing a deck that is focused around them, this is phenomenal. Let's say I'm playing a Victini VMAX deck. And let's face it, there's a very good chance that I am going to be playing a Victini VMAX deck. I adore Victini VMAX. So what I've essentially got here is a Pokemon, and I only need a couple of things, right? I'm a simple man when I'm playing Victini. I want turn 2 Victini VMAX with 2 energy. Now, obviously, Welder is rotating out, so I need an energy drop turn 1, and I need an energy drop turn 2. What this allows me to do is search for Victini, Victini VMAX, Crobat. Simple. And now, I've got the Victini to attach energy to. I've got the Victini VMAX for next turn. And I've got a Crobat to start drawing. Yes, I know that keeping Victini VMAX in my hand means I draw one fewer card with Crobat. But the fact of the matter is, when I play Crobat, one of the cards I need to draw is Victini VMAX. So it makes absolutely no sense to grab 2 Victinis and a Crobat and hope to draw the VMAX off of the Crobat. You want to just have the VMAX already in hand, literally and figuratively, and just ready to go. I do think that's pretty gosh darned important. And in a deck like Victini VMAX, in a deck like Eternatus, I adore it. In those decks, all you're really looking for turn 1 is a V and an energy drop, and maybe a VMAX. Certainly you want a VMAX by the following turn. And this gets you the V, it gets you the VMAX, and the fact of the matter is, right, there's a decent chance that you're going to have an energy in your starting hand. Most of us play enough energy that that's often the case. If you don't, you're drawing 3, 4, 5 cards off of a Crobat, and there is a very good chance that you are drawing the energy off of there. And sure, there are still going to be some turns where you whiff and you don't have it, and that's a little bit sad. But those turns are going to be few and far between. Essentially, what this allows you to do is just have a really good, consistent early game setup in decks that revolve around Vs and VMAXs. And if we go to the metagame we looked at in Japan the other day, I showed you what's winning over in Japan with Chilling Reign legal, or with what will be our Chilling Reign. You know, they're not exactly the same, but it is essentially the same. I'm hoping that makes a little bit of sense. And we have a look at what's being played in Japan and what's winning and what's seeing a whole bunch of success. It is a bunch of Pokemon V decks and V Maxes. It's Eternatus. It's Urshifu. It's Shadow Rider Calyrex V Max. These are decks which are seeing playing success at the moment, which don't really lose anything important, or at least game-breaking, when we end up at the rotation, which means that these are going to remain good decks moving forward. Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX is looking like a very, very good deck moving forward. And all of these are just going to love this card. I see this as a really, really good supporter moving forward. And I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit overly enthusiastic, but I think I can fairly give this 5 Wassies. And I'm just going to go back to the 3 reasons I told you at the beginning of the video why I love this supporter. I love it because it can get Vs and VMAXs. I love it because it puts cards to your hand and allows you to have those coming into play abilities. And I love it because we've got plenty of Pokemon V around at the moment which will draw you cards. And all of that just adds up to a great card. And that's when I start giving 5 Wassies. No, obviously it's not going to see like any play in a non-V Max deck. Why would it? That would be dumb. But in V and V Max focused decks, it has got to be a big consideration. Because even in the mid to late game, it'll still get you that Pokemon to draw, and your Pokemon I really, really like this one. Could you tell, ladies and gentlemen? Could you tell? But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.